Hey y'all, today I'm going to go over my top 10 VS Code extensions. We're going to start with the visual ones, 5 visual extensions, then go on to 5 tools. I'll start off with the theme that I use. It's OneDark Pro. I do prefer dark mode, and this is the one I'm currently using. Obviously there's a lot of great ones out here, but this is the one I'm using right now, and it's easy to read, it's got great colors, is what my preference is. Next, we got VS Code icons. What VS Code icons does is adds a whole bunch of different icons to the different types of folders and files and so on you can have. Makes it a lot easier to differentiate between different files that you're using. It's a fantastic, very consistently updated extension. Next, we got pseudocode. Really, all this is does some syntax highlighting for generic pseudocode. So if you don't want just plain text, just kind of black and white like you're using a normal notepad, it does a little highlighting for you. And really, it's for just if you're doing one file that's just pseudocode and you're kind of thinking out what you want to do. It's great for this. It's not as great if you're going to do like say you're writing in Python and you want to do some pseudocode in the Python. Obviously, you're not going to use this. Next, we got Rainbow CSV. What this does is makes CSV files a lot easier to read by essentially highlighting each column per comma or whatever the delineator is with a different color. And it makes it way easier if you're just opening up a CSV file in VS Code to kind of take a look through the data. Then we've got highlight bad characters. In working with customer data in my professional job, I've run into plenty of times where they give us bad data. And what can happen is there's even bad characters in your data that are hiding from you that you can't see, or maybe you just missed. And so this will help you by highlighting those bad characters. Now it's a little bit aggressive at times, but often with Unicode characters that you don't really want in there, it'll help you out and point those out for you. Then as far as tools go, number one for me is obviously WSL. So I am working with Windows 11, and for my job, I work in Linux often, in Bash and the command line. And WSL allows me to do my job. It allows me to work in the command line, really run everything out of the command line, move around in Linux and work in Linux without having to have a native install. WSL stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux. I'm currently running WSL 2. It even supports full GUI apps. So if you didn't know, you can run full native Linux GUI apps, which is a graphics user interface. So essentially, you use a full normal app with, not just a command line, but a full application that would normally only run in Linux. You can run it in Windows. Why would you want to do that? Well, maybe you want to be able to have a gaming system that runs Windows and use it for your personal life, and then maybe you want to work with some different virtual machines, or you want to work with Linux on the side, just kind of get to learn it, or maybe you're a developer like myself and you want to be able to work in Linux while also having a Windows machine without trying to dual boot or run it natively. This is a great way to do that. I found it is a little memory hungry, so you may need to set some limits there, but WSL has worked great for me. This is what I use, and this is it when you're working with VS Code. Since Microsoft designed WSL and they make VS Code, it's very well integrated and works great for me. I rarely had any issues with it. So if you want to work in WSL, you want to work in Linux inside of Windows and want to code in that environment, get this extension and get you up running really quick. After that, now this one, just to let you guys know, is deprecated. So this is not currently being updated or taken care of, but I still put it here because I use it so often. I use this extension constantly. It's called Beautify. There may be much better versions out there that I don't know of, and definitely let me know if you know of them. But this I use often mainly for JSON. I work with a lot of JSON data, and if there's just one line of JSON data and I want to make it readable, what I'll do is I'll use this extension, highlight that code, and then run this on it, and it'll essentially put it in a readable JSON format just like this. Then we have selected lines count. Honestly, it amazes me that this is not built into VS Code, and I hope it will be. This allows you to do is just highlight lines of your code, and it'll automatically show you how many lines you have selected. Really wish this was built in, but since it's not, this is a fantastic extension to do that for you. Thunder Client is a very powerful and useful VS Code built in, it's an extension tool to be able to do REST calls, essentially, your gets and pushes and outputs and all that good stuff. It allows you to do single calls, kind of like doing curl from the command line, or using some other different applications that are out there. But what's really nice about this one is it's built right into VS Code. It's all seamless, and it's worked great for me. And finally, also a thing called Live Share. Most of us have used Google Docs to work on a document together with multiple friends at a time. And this is essentially similar to that, except for code. And so instead of having to use a Google Doc for code to work together, or I'm sure there are plenty of apps out there as well you can use online, but you can directly in VS Code use Microsoft Visual Live Share, so obviously designed by Microsoft themselves, to be able to live share your code, say with your senior developer, maybe with your working together with some friends, maybe you're making a game, and you can work together at the same time using live share. There was an audio component that seems to be deprecated. I don't know if it's just built in now, but I definitely encourage you to look into that. But it's a fantastic app. Maybe jump on Slack or jump on Discord and use live share to collaborate and write code together. And that is my top 10 VS Code extensions that help me to do my job. See y'all later.